story has really concerned people right across this country, and there are things our government can do. They can use diplomatic pressure, they can use other measures in terms of persuading the authorities that they should be setting Raif free, rather than going back to the Middle Ages really in the way that they're treating him.
Raif Badawi is in prison in Saudi Arabia for 10 years, and he faces the prospect of 1,000 lashes, simply for expressing the wrong kind of opinions. That is in clear violation of international human rights law. Our Prime Minister, David Cameron, should stop his silence and speak out. He should condemn the arrest and detention of Raif and his lawyer Walid, and indeed the detention of all political prisoners in Saudi Arabia. And more than that, we should halt all arms sales to Saudi Arabia, recall the British ambassador, and begin the process of international targeted sanctions against the Saudi leaders. Unless they respect the human rights of their own citizens and abide by international human rights law, they should face penalties, they should be condemned, and we need to stand with Saudi citizens who are seeking a better, more democratic life.
Yes, and I think that was telling, and it tells us something about where we are now in Britain, that we're now having to defend the Human Rights Act here in Britain. And I think it really is worth stressing that human rights are a universal thing, and I think we should be speaking out not just about the situation of Raif Badawi, but about everybody in Saudi Arabia, where we have these absolutely barbaric laws that clearly are in breach of universal human rights. Well, I think Britain simply has to reconsider its whole relationship with Saudi Arabia. Not only appeal for the freedom of Raif Badawi, but also very much to think again about the support we're providing through the arms trade to Saudi Arabia, the diplomatic support we're providing to Saudi Arabia, and really say Britain should be a champion of human rights around the world, and reshaping our relationship with Saudi Arabia should be part of that.
Raif Badawi has been sentenced to 10 years in prison and 1,000 lashes for simply expressing his views online and opening a blog to start a debate in Saudi Arabia. His sentence and the corporal punishment he is facing are a blatant violation of international human rights standards, and Index on Censorship is calling for his immediate and unconditional release, and we are also asking for the UK government to speak out and call for the release of Raif Badawi immediately.